Good afternoon. My name is Ruth Nakalas. I'm an intern here at A.L.I, and I'm so happy to be the one to introduce our first honorary Professor Sylvia Tamale. Like my dad and our founder here at A.L.I, Dr. Tamale is a graduate of Harvard University, and she was the first female dean of law school at Makerere University. Even more important than her many degrees and career accomplishment is the fact that Professor Tamale is a fierce advocate for human rights. At great risk and cost, she tirelessly, selflessly, and wisely seeks all routes to equality, protection, and compassion for the most marginalized member of our society. Dr. Tamale also founded and serves as a coordinator of gender, law, and sexuality research project at the School of Law. She adopts a critical approach to the law that aims at enhancing students' transformative personal growth and action. Dr. Tamale serves on several international boards and has been a visiting professor in several academic institutions globally. This is hardly the first award she has received, and we are delighted that she is here to receive our humble offering to honor her sacred work. Please join me in welcoming Professor Sylvia Tamale.
Can we come and have a picture?
Sorry?
We want to present this to you for a picture.
Oh.
Stand in the middle and both hands, please. Camera should be there.
Thank you very much, Ruth, for that beautiful introduction. Thank you. You know, when Nathaniel contacted me to inform me about this award, of course I was shocked. I'd never heard of A.L.I. after Professor. I'd never heard of A.L.I. I had been to the Equator restaurant. I didn't know who ran it. But from the little that I've heard, this is very impressive. And I've had a very quick tour of the place. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Now, Nathaniel asked me to talk about, very briefly, about leadership. And briefly about the work that I do. You know, one time, a few months ago, I was sitting in one non-governmental organization in their bathroom. I was sitting on the toilet and there was a poster right there in front of me saying that leadership is not a position or title, it is action and example. Because most of us, when we think about leadership, we think it's a title, a leader. It's actually not a position, it's not a title, it is action and example, which means that any of us can be leaders. Now, there are several other leadership posters that are my all-time favorites, and I'll just tell you 10 of them, beginning with that one. Leadership is not a position, it's action and example. 2, leadership is not about controlling. It's about inspiring. Leadership is unlocking people's potential to become better. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. To translate a dream into reality. Leadership is doing what is right when no one is watching. Don't be two-faced. Don't be a hypocrite. Even when no one is watching, do what is right. Be a voice, not an echo. It's easy to stand with a crowd. It takes courage to stand alone. Humility is the foundation of leadership. You need to be modest, you need to be humble if you're going to be a leader, a good leader. 9, compassion does not weaken leadership, it strengthens it. And finally, but by no means least, true leaders practice the 3 R's. Respect for self, respect for others, and responsibility for all their actions. Now, I'm a feminist. So in my work, I try to practice leadership that is informed by specific values which define feminist sensibility. Central to these values are issues such as diversity. Society has a way of reducing humanity into binaries. You are either this or that. Us, them. Which always lead to discrimination, treating people using double standards, exploiting, oppressing, and so on. Humanity is much more diverse and much more complex than the dualisms that it is reduced to. Boy, girl. And then you discover that there are some people who are in between. They are neither girl nor boy. But they are human beings that deserve the same respect, the same dignity as boy and girl. For example, 1 in 6,000 babies every day is born with ambiguous genitalia, for example. They may have both a penis and a vagina. But of course, in our community, you know how we treat such people. All kinds of horrible words. Intersex people are people like you and me, and they deserve the same dignity and respect. Good, bad. Society does that. It reduces everything to either or, without giving license to gray area. Actually, most of humanity lies in the gray area, on the spectrum, not at the extreme ends. And we need to recognize that. Another value that I adhere to is what I call substantive justice. Substantive justice as opposed to notional or formal justice. Because it's one thing, for example, for our constitution to talk about equality of everyone in Article 21, or saying that everyone has the right to run for political office. That sounds very good on paper. The reality and lived experience of many people just doesn't allow them to enjoy such rights. So when the Children's Act, for example, talks about equality between all children, you know better, don't you? you know that that is simply not true. That is theoretical. That we are all equal. That you understand there's so many issues, there's so many qualities that intersect to make some people more important, more respected, more privileged than others. So when we talk about substantive equality or substantive justice, it goes beyond the notional or the formal justice that many people talk about. Oh, we are all equal. Oh, we justice. It looks at justice from people's lived experiences. I believe in inclusiveness, in the common good. I believe in participatory decision-making processes as opposed to top-down decisions because I say so. I think we all agree that the current status quo is unsatisfactory and that we should be working for transformative change. I've heard that word being said by the previous speakers, transformation. I think we all agree that we need transformative change. And transformative change means moving away from business as usual. So if you're going to be a change agent, if you're going to be a transformative leader, I strongly believe that you need to begin with yourself. I would urge that you submit yourself to a process known as unlearning. When I talk about unlearning to my students, they usually think that what I am saying is that they should get all the knowledge that they possess thus far and dump it in a trash bin or a dust bin. No, unlearning is not about dumping all the knowledge that you have. Unlearning speaks more to critical thinking. The process of unlearning signals not indoctrination, but rather a critical process of weighing previously acquired beliefs when confronting new ones. It entails a heightened reflexivity towards one's own ways of thinking. What am I saying? We have a lot of knowledge in our heads. We are human beings with brains between our two ears. We can think for ourselves. We can look at something and make a decision about whatever it is that we're looking at. But unfortunately, our education system, especially post-colonial education system, doesn't train us to think critically, to think for ourselves, to think about the underlying assumptions about the truths that we encounter. Our education system is one that teaches us rote learning. It's about rote learning. Cram, 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 cram. Regurgitate in an exam and move on to the next level. And the colonialists did that very deliberately. When they introduced missionary schools here, the education system did not hone our critical thinking skills. It encouraged us to simply cram because the British were conscious of the fact that if they honed our critical thinking skills, we shall rise up and challenge their colonial imperial rule. Unfortunately, when we gained independence in 1962, post-independence governments continued with the same education system. Our education system needs overhauling. If you see the kind of education that is taught in Britain and other developed countries, there's a very conscious effort to hone the critical thinking skills of children. Children are naturally very inquisitive. They're always questioning. So, for example, when in primary 2, your teacher tells you the head of the family is one answer, one correct answer, the father. And this little boy sitting in the back of the class puts up his hand and says, "Excuse me, ma, excuse me," because he knows he's being raised by his struggling single mother. He says, "In my family, no, teacher, in my family, it's not daddy, it's not daddy." What will happen? Or if that question comes in an exam and the child puts mommy or any other answer other than father or husband, they will get it wrong. And there's no questioning. Unfortunately, even the informal education in our homes is the same. Your little daughter, your little son asks you, "Why do I have to go to bed before you? Why do I have to go to bed at 8 and you go to bed at 10 or midnight?" Most times, most parents respond by spanking them, "Because I say so." Instead of explaining, you are still growing, you need more rest. Children understand. But we do that. So our education system doesn't encourage us to be critical thinkers. So when I talk about unlearning, I am saying that, look at the realities and the possibilities of life from other points of view. Sharpen your consciousness to the different assumptions, to the generalization, those sacred constructs that shape how you understand reality and how you create knowledge. So when someone tells you, oh, that woman, she's a Mtoro. You know a Toro. You know, all the stereotypes. Don't even go there. Stop yourself and say, what are they saying? Do they mean that all Batoro women are the same? I'm Uganda. Those of you who know our history know very well. So when I took my now husband of over 25 years to my parents to introduce him, his name begins with an O. And those who understand our Ugandan social, they know exactly what that means. He comes from Eastern Uganda, and his name begins with O. He said, Obichi? The stereotypes. So I challenged my parents and said, are you the same people who keep talking about apartheid in South Africa when you're discriminating against your fellow Ugandans? Luckily for me, I put my foot down and I said, I know this man, I know him very well. I've had Baganda boyfriends. He's much better than all of them put together. And to cut a long story short, if I hadn't put my foot down, today they love him to pieces. They love him. Because now they got to know him as an individual, as a human being, not as an all Japadolas, all O's. That's what I'm talking about. And I have to confess, it was a process for me. Because Joe and I had met years, and it didn't even occur to me that we can end up as husband and wife because of his name, because of where he came from. But when I got to know him as a human being, I knew that the stereotypes, the generalizations were all rubbish. If I hadn't put on a new pair of eyes to see Joe through a different lens, I would never have unlearned what I had learned for so long. I would never have relearned. So you have to go through that process of unlearning and relearning, beginning with yourself. As a leader, you cannot be a leader if you operate based on stereotypes, based on generalizations, okay? Based on someone's skin color, based on someone's religion, someone's disability, where they come from. It just doesn't work. You have to give each individual a chance to prove themselves. Don't always listen to what people say and take it as literally as the gospel truth. Simply because someone is standing at the pulpit and preaching to you doesn't mean that, because when you're in church or in the mosque, you're never ever given a chance to put up your hand and challenge priests and ask questions. What they say is supposed to be literally the gospel truth. But as someone who has grey matter between your two ears, question what he has just said. What does that mean? Homosexuals are horrible people. They're sinners. They should go to hell. And you ask yourself, if they are horrible people, why did God create them? Ask those questions. At a minimum, ask the questions. Don't just swallow. Because you are an intelligent person. As a human being, you're born with intellect. But you should use your brain. At a minimum, question. Discover. Find out the truth. Talk to a homosexual. And see if he is that horrible person that they have painted him to be, or her. If she's a sex worker, find out why she's doing what she's doing. So unlearning is a considerable challenge. Assumptions are assumptions by virtue of the fact that we don't know their assumptions. Generalizations are the very things that our everyday thinking processes depend on. Sacred constructs are things to fight to death for, not challenge. So the struggle to unlearn deals with deep, deep level human value systems. Those ideas, those truths that are part of our comfort zone. So unlearning and relearning requires us to step out of the familiar waters and tread unfamiliar waters that threaten the status quo. So unlearning involves discomfort. It involves disequilibrium initially associated with change. So it is a challenge to the safety and security of familiar ground, of deeply, deeply entrenched behavior patterns and beliefs. But it is something that we must all engage in. Thank you very much.